My poofs are not even. I hate it when my poofs sag.
They don't say anything. Can you see them? They're pineapple socks today.
Pineapples.
Yeah. I still represent, even though y'all don't see my feet every day on the show. I'm still bringing it here. So they match my outfit. So, these old things.
Sylvie gave the biggest yawn during that. It's like, okay.
This is exciting stuff. Now, if this doesn't start the show off strong, I don't know what will.
And apparently we didn't find anything else.
So
yes,
riveting.
Those are my socks. I love good socks, though. That's like one thing that I don't show with many people, but I like good ones. So
hey,
it's
bad,
Monday, everyone. Yeah,
they're good. They're good.
Yeah. This is the jam. It only goes up from here, people. Amy Rutledge and Brandon Pope are here. We've laid a real low end, and we're gonna shoot for the moon now. A big day in news. First of all, Joe Biden, for what seems like the 20th time, is the president-elect of the United States. The Electoral College making it official today. California's vote totals just about an hour ago, pushing Joe Biden over that 270 threshold. Still waiting on Hawaii. They're going last in just a little bit, but the news usurped a little bit, Amy, by some other big news.
Yes. Also, turns out those rumors were true. Attorney General William Barr stepping down from his post. President Trump tweeted the news within the last hour. Now, you may have seen over the weekend, the president blamed Barr for not revealing an investigation into Hunter Biden's taxes. Barr's last day will be December 23rd. Deputy AG Jeff Rosen will fill in as acting AG until they find someone permanent.
Shocker, by the way, that the news came immediately after the Electoral College was finalized that this comes out.
And in time for the evening newscast as well.
Yeah,
interesting
right,
timing.
Very
for
well
sure.
placed.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll on to some more local news. Here's what's happening in Chicago. CPS hiring 2,000 employees to take on pandemic-related duties, including, this is interesting, supervising students that are in person in the classroom if the teacher is teaching remotely. The union not very happy about this, and applicants don't have to live in Chicago like other CPS employees. Interesting.
Well, it's all beginning to feel a lot like Christmas out there. Temperatures are set to plummet tonight across Chicagoland. Winds will keep temps from topping 40 degrees nearly all week, with the possibility of snow flurries in some areas.
And the Bears actually looked good for once on Sunday, drumming the Texans at Soldier Field, but their problems, they are still existent. I got some thoughts from Bears legend Matt Forte, and he says it all starts with the guys up front, that offensive line.
The issue I see with the Bears is that it really doesn't matter who you put back there at quarterback if nobody's blocking for them. It doesn't matter who you put back there at running back if nobody's blocking for them. Our defense is fairly good. They've been good for year after year after year, but good defenses eventually, they start to get older and they start to transition into, you need new players. And so our defense is a good enough defense for this team to be a playoff team. The offense is not scoring points. They can't move the ball. They can't run the ball.
Yeah, if you're a Bears fan, the theory you have to have right now is, okay, we did well. Does that mean management's going to think, okay, we're good for 2021. We're going to keep everybody in place, keep the coach, keep the quarterback, and run it back? Because I think it's clear the Bears need to change no matter how well they play in this last stretch.
They got a 14% chance of making the playoffs, Brandon. I am going to hope for that. I am going to pray for that, and we'll see what happens. You're telling me there's a chance.
There's a chance. Now, listen, I'm not the biggest football fan to begin with, but I was like, I kind of given up on them. I would occasionally pop my head in to see what the score was, and I was like, meh. So that's where I feel like a lot of fans are. And let's remember, this is a business, right? They got to make bidding it better, and bidding it better is only going to be if they change some of the people around, I think. But it's early.
Yeah. I know it's a big night for your Browns, though, Brandon. Hey, by the way, I just want to say one thing. Brandon loves to pretend like he's this big Ohio State football fan, but then your alma mater's Ball State, and you were cheering for them over the weekend because they had a big win. Can you just pick a team? Like, which one is your favorite? And just pick that one, Brandon, and let's be done with it.
It's all about the heart versus the head, right? You know, my heart's with Ohio State. You're born in the state of Ohio. That's what you do, John. I know Chicago, people don't get it because you all don't got good college sports.
Brandon, we know you don't use your head very often, so we understand. Okay, moving on. A more serious topic, the COVID-19 vaccine is now in Illinois. The state's first doses received today are for healthcare workers and nursing home residents. Some states began administering the vaccine today. Chicago's first dose will be given tomorrow at Laredo Hospital. Now, according to Dr. Fauci, healthy people with no underlying health conditions will likely get the vaccine at the end of March, beginning of April.
And that certainly was exciting news, but activists and aldermen pushing for vaccine distribution plans to be more equitable. They fear current plans will leave underserved communities left out or delayed from getting vaccinated, calling on Mayor Lightfoot and Governor Pritzker to create an extensive outreach program. And I know, Brandon, many of the stories that you've covered, people have been talking about this in the neighborhoods, about making sure that the right people get this vaccine, and certainly it's spread across the entire city.
Yeah, definitely. Equity's got to be the key if you're going to be having any distribution program. Back to the, first person to get the vaccine. I think it's interesting that it was a Black woman. I think that messaging was intentional because there is a lot of hesitancy from the Black community. We've been talking about it. I've had friends talking about it all day about, are you going to get the vaccine or not? Especially since it came out so early, there's a lot of mistrust. So for Chicago and Illinois, I would think any plan you put together for distribution would have to be involving a way to dispel those fears a little bit too.
Yeah, and I would imagine it's got to be a per capita thing based on different demographic areas. Okay, so you get this money based on your population size and that way. And that's the only fair way to really do it, I would think, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that, like, you can say over and over again, let's make this equitable, let's make this equitable. What the aldermen are saying is, let's write down, I think, Amy, kind of what you're talking about. Let's put some numbers to this. Let's put together this comprehensive plan, because you can, tout equitability as much as you want, but when the actual stuff actually gets started, being handed out, sometimes it doesn't break down that way. And that's hard, right? Because they're starting in hospitals. Healthcare access is already a major conversation that is happening in Black and brown communities, underserved communities across Chicago. So you're already kind of starting on not necessarily the wrong foot, but in an unequitable foot. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, car salesman. This story I love is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, going viral for his promotional videos that he makes at work.
My managers are very supportive and helpful. They're actually the ones that sometimes record the videos. So I'll even get the owner who's upstairs to come record a video, and they give me ideas. So, as of now, me and my managers are planning ideas that, can bring more attention to Richard Tonda.
All right, so we've had a chance to talk to him. We got to see what these videos are, though, because he comes up with them. He does these great videos for each of the customers. He even has a tagline. I think we got that one ready to play. We don't, but what he basically does, he does this big tagline. He's so funny with it. And his tagline at the end of it, he ends with, he's trying to trademark it, "Where the money reside." He comes out of the trunk in this fabulous way. And it just is so exciting because this comes on the heels of the Sherwin-Williams intern we were talking about, our employee, a couple weeks ago, where he was coming up with these cool videos and got fired for it. Yet this gentleman in Baton Rouge says that he was more than supported by the managers.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy because you have a lot of these younger people coming up in these companies and they're starting out. So you're like, okay, well, maybe they don't necessarily know what they're doing because they're newer, right? That's where most people are in their careers. But they are tech and social media savvy. And you got to start listening to these ideas because they can be huge.
Brandon, before you react, we actually do have that video. We actually do have that video now. So let's take a look at that.
Right, we going. What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside. Okay, let me tell y'all something. I'm doing something real big this month. Any deal that y'all got and they beating us, I'm gonna beat about $400. Just give me your VIN and the paper, cause I'm asked what the what? What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside. Okay, I told y'all before, y'all know what I do. I give all these good deals and everything else. Y'all better ask about me because I do all that all the time.
See, now
I'm
it
so
all
glad
comes
we
together.
found this. Wow,
Yes.
I'm so glad we got it to play. You know, it's perfect. Everything from the personality to the music in the
Yes.
background. Like, shout out to the Yin Yang Twins, right? Like, wow. If you're a company, you should embrace this. Why
Yes.
not embrace this, right? This is awesome.
Because it's an emerging more media. People are finally starting to realize the power social media has behind it, and some of the upper level managers that have been there for decades don't quite get it yet, but they're getting there slowly but surely.
And
right?
in this age when so many people just buy on their phone or they do click, any
Right.
customer service where you can feel a relationship with the person that you're buying from, amen. I love that guy. Like, where the money reside, where the money reside. All right.
I think he's great too. And I would go and just ask him to do that for me in person too, by the way. Hey, another major sports team is changing its name, but not for a while. We're sounding off on this coming up in News You Need to Know.
All right, the news you need to know. Cleveland, their baseball team's going to be dropping the name Indians in favor of another team nickname. The team is still planning to use the Indians moniker in 2021, however, and has not decided on a new name just yet. But earlier this year, Washington, they dropped the Redskins name as its team name and now go by the Washington football team. Other pro teams looking at maybe doing the same. And we're looking at the future, what both these moves could mean for other sports teams.
A really visible and very public thing that these teams are doing. And I think it's going to signal to companies that they need to make sure that the words they say, you know, whether it's on social and their marketing, the things that employees say to each other, that it really follows these best practices and, you know, stays above board and inclusive of everybody.
And Cleveland sports fans upset about this across the board. People are used to the Indians name, Go Tribe, things like that. As a Cleveland baseball fan myself, I actually applaud the move. I think, you know, anytime you can update with culture and times, it's smart. And it's not really fair to make a culture a mascot. I don't know why that was ever a thing.
Well, yeah, I will say this. I'm like, I kind of was like, I understand how teams or people feel about their teams and how they get married to them and they're so loved. But at the same time, yeah, life is different now than it was, when that team started. And they kind of got to roll with the punches, right? And so it's time to move on.
Yeah, so I was a freshman at the University of Illinois, and Chief Alinowick was still there, and he would like do a dance at the halftime of basketball, football, and we went to volleyball games. A lot of our friends were on the team. I would do everything. I would do like all the hand motion, the hooting, and the hollering, and I didn't think like a second about it. And there would even be like these small protests that would happen, and I was dumb. I was 18, and I'd be like, "What's that all about? Come on!" But like, you just take a little time to learn. By the time I left the University of Illinois, the chief had been retired. There had been huge outcry over it. But like, people evolve, right? And I think that if you give them a little bit more of the history of why that might be offensive, a lot of people are able to change their minds. Brandon, I know you said like a lot of Cleveland fans are upset by this, but I've seen a lot of Cleveland writers and other people as well saying, look, this is well past due. I think that sometimes you have to make the change and then the followers follow, right? I think that sometimes you get a year or two out of whatever emotional attachment someone has to that, and then they're like, oh yeah, we didn't need that after all.
Yeah, and there's ways to make the old heads, in a sense, happy by one thing for Cleveland, you go back to your old name. Like their first 20 years as a franchise, they were the Cleveland Spiders. Why not honor that tradition and just go back to Spiders, right? There's ways you can still honor the past and tradition without offending, a whole culture of people.
Yeah, for sure.
The president tweeted out earlier today, oh no, what's going on? This is not good news, even for Indians. Cancel culture at work. I don't think this is necessarily cancel culture, as like kind of John alluded to earlier. I think it's people evolving.
Right, and also like let's make this point plain. A lot of the universities have changed away from this because that was public money going towards this. A lot of the private companies have been a lot slower, but guess what has made the most influence? It's money. It's people speaking with their wallets and boycotting. That is the First Amendment at play stronger than ever. And that is not cancel culture. That's people speaking up and a business deciding that it's not worth it for them. So, like, look, I agree sometimes that cancel culture can go, like, way too far, especially for performance artists and stuff like that. But I disagree. And also, the president in his tweet put Indians in quotes. Like, he doesn't even understand the things that he's saying when he's trying to rile up his base. So, 36 more days.
And counting. How many seconds, John?
Yeah. We're getting there.
All right. We're getting there. All right. Moving on. Other stories you need to know tonight. All 6 battleground states where President Trump contested his defeat have now cast their electoral votes for Joe Biden. He will be the newly and fairly elected 46th president of the U.S. Tuesday is the deadline to sign up for health care coverage under the Affordable Care Act. According to federal data, the average number of people signing up daily is up 14% ahead of last year. And new reports claim former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg has pulled ahead of Rahm Emanuel as the frontrunner to head the Department of Transportation. Also, Chicago, get ready to welcome Old Man Winter. Wind chills tonight, temps drop into the single digits. And that is the news you need to know.
Yeah, really boring forecast tomorrow. All right, coming up, some Chicago classic films that are going down in national history. We'll explain that at 6:30. And we'll be back in 90 seconds. Ooh, traffic. Where's everyone going?
Ooh,
One of the best parts of the holiday season is enjoying lights. Well, how about 1 million of them, and you don't even have to leave your car to do it? Just north of the border, near Milwaukee at the Burner Botanical Gardens, and we've got Shirley Walzak joining us. Shirley, you're in front of the peacocks right now.
I am. I'm in front of one of the light displays.
This is your second year doing this, and despite you guys are very COVID friendly the way you're doing it, how everyone can still enjoy the holiday season.
We are. This is strictly a drive-through show. We have little gift bags for everybody that are given touch-free, when they hand them to them. You can come and just take your time, drive through the garden slowly through the Whitnell Park and enjoy the holiday lights.
I think a lot of people have done, they see the light displays that neighbors do, or maybe one of the zoos. Give me the specs. I hear 1 million lights. Tell me a little bit about it. Sell it for me.
Well, since we are in a park and we have lots of trees, because we have the Arboretum with us, we've done a lot of uplighting and laser lighting from our producer, Laser Bob Mullins, from Egotech, who has really gone out of his way to display the trees and light them up and have motion with the lights. And then we have different ornaments. One of the favorites is the polar bears on the waterfall. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. We also have Santas on their motorcycles riding away. We have a little Santa area. We have some snowmen. We have kind of an ice princess, but she, area. Mm-hmm. We also have a lot of stars up in the trees that are just absolutely incredible.
Surely you had me at lasers, so you didn't have to go past that. But let's talk about, you got a drive-in experience too, as well as I hear karaoke.
Right. We have like a little 10-minute show, and it allows for families to pull over, watch this little skit for a little bit, and they also have a sing-along in there, so they can do sing-along karaoke in their car.
Oh, see, now I would have to roll down the windows for that, just to make sure that car behind me heard what I was jamming on. Okay, so this is every night, right? I mean, you guys are running through the new year and a couple more days after that.
We are. We're running every night from 5 to 10. Last car can come in at 9:30. On weekends, we encourage people to come maybe a little bit later, between 7:30 and 9, because we get super crowded starting at 5. We have a skip the line feature that the first 20 cars, if they purchase online, can come in, be the first 20 cars to go in at 5 o'clock.
And make a whole experience of it. What I love about what you're doing, it's only year 2 for you guys, but probably starting to, now it's a tradition. So year 2, this could be at the start of a new family tradition for people in the Chicago area.
I think it is. I mean, I know we've already had some people from Chicago come up, and I hope they really enjoyed the show. It absolutely is spectacular. But come on up. We welcome you to come up to Wisconsin and see us.
And get in the holiday spirit. That's the way to do it. Shirley, thanks for your time. Good luck, and can't wait to see the show. And let's put up the information for where you can find all sorts of stuff. You can visit winterwonders.org. And that skip the line feature sounds pretty good too, but just a really great way to have a safe, happy holiday experience. And if your holiday lights are up right now, we want to see them. We are partnering with ComEd's Energy Efficiency Program to highlight holiday lights from around the area.
All right, so take a look at this home in Mayfair. Isn't that so cute? I love the snowman boards. It's better than the inflatables because they tend to fall down.
True.
Take a look at one from Bloomingdale as well. Oh, that tree's gorgeous.
Oh, it is. It's well done.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Stockings were hung. Oh, I see that. That's great. Okay, cool sign. Awesome.
Very cute. Well, if you have a great display you'd like to share, snap a photo, send it to us at cw26chicago.com. We're going to feature your images on air and on our social media. Hey, coming up after this, Dr. Jill Biden gets a fierce defender after this weekend's Wall Street Journal op-ed. That's coming up at 6:30. Stick around. Yeah, I didn't say it because I
no.
couldn't say it.
No. Yeah, I can't even see the names anyways because it's all covered up by
Off
the
to
chat
the
text
right.
window.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what am I going to say about? What am I going to riff about their name? Come on,
Magoo.
come on.
I hear people again.
No, he's
I
still
hear
there.
people again.
Hey. Oh.
I think
Hi.
we're on television.
I think you might be back.
Whoa.
Sorry, a little technical
Hey,
difficulties
what's
there.
up?
We're working it all out. Here we go. Hey, we're talking about our favorite holiday treats by state. There is a survey that was done in Illinois. It's a chocolate Santa?
That sounds good.
Sounds lame. A holiday
How
treat, that's
about-
just a piece of chocolate. It's a piece of chocolate.
How about Ohio cheesecake? That one makes sense. I eat cheesecake every holiday.
I like cheesecake too. And then
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of,
Universal.
one of the states, I can't remember which one it was, nearby us, vegan Christmas cookies.
California.
No, it was like Iowa, something touching Illinois. I can't remember which one it
Some
was.
Midwest state picked vegan something. Okay,
Yes.
they lose their Midwest card. They
all the
better
rage.
cover that with cheese and fry it if it's even to be considered a Midwestern treat.
It was Missouri.
Missouri.
But
Yeah,
no,
that makes sense.
trust me.
Yeah.
I've been to Missouri many times
Me
for
too.
St. Louis
They don't
Cardinals
like-
or St. Louis Blues. No, they're eating fried ravioli and they are not eating vegan anything.
They're
They're
trying,
throwing
John,
rolls
to
at
be
each
healthier.
other.
They're trying to be
No.
better. So,
Sorry to our
I
Missouri
vote that
fans, but
I vote that North Carolina and South Carolina secede from the union.
You know that sound. You know what time it is. We are back. Welcome to the Jam, everybody. We appreciate you being here. I'm Amy Rutledge alongside John Hansen. We had Brandon Pope. Oh, he's back.
I made it.
He's back. See, if I don't look
I've
down, I can't tell.
returned.
he has returned. Well, good.
He has
Um,
returned.
This story over the weekend was crazy about Dr. Jill Biden and this whole thing. But anyways, Michelle Obama coming to the support of incoming First Lady Jill Biden on Instagram, referring to her as Dr. Biden. This all started with a Wall Street Journal op-ed that was published, basically saying that she shouldn't call herself Dr. Jill Biden because she's not a medical doctor, and talking about how PhDs aren't what they used to be. It was a really weird, stupid piece. Northwestern University, in fact, distancing themselves from the guy who wrote it, who talked about his time at Northwestern, saying that he hasn't even lectured there in 20 years and didn't have a very remarkable tenure. It was a strange story. I even saw a ton of people today calling the Wall Street Journal to cancel their subscriptions and having to be on hold for like 45 minutes to try and do it. Yeah.
Wow, really? See, I always struggle with this because, while yes, if I went and got my doctorate, you better damn well call me a doctor because I spent that time and education and I have that knowledge power. But I also, like, just as a human, I kind of get confused when people say they're a doctor and they don't mean medical doctor. So that's where I'm like always like, oh, okay, doctorate of education. Doesn't lessen their doctorate. But as a human being in a conversation, if I don't know the person, now we're talking about the next first lady, so I obviously know what she does and I paid attention. Right. But if you're talking to somebody out of context who I don't know and they say doctor, I'm like, wait, what? And it confuses me a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the whole piece was just an unnecessary slight. It just felt really unnecessary. She's a doctor. She's earned her keep, and she's still working as a teacher. She said she's still going to teach as first lady. Like, wow, right? Like, I don't think her work at all should be diminished. In this whole article, like I remember a time when the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the opinion pages of those were like a marketplace of ideas where you had great discussion of weighty ideas. This was a piece of trash, literally. There was no intellectual weight to be held with this article. And it's just a bad look for the Wall Street Journal to even publish that.
Well, and because I'm just put this out there. Regardless of what you think about like the title, like I feel like in the first 3 sentences he used the line "kiddo" to refer to her.
Oh, that was the worst. Yes. Oh,
woman
that was so
who's
bad.
got a doctor and he calls her kiddo. That's so demeaning and demoralizing. I literally wanted to kick him in the face virtually.
Yeah. Also, doctors of philosophy, education, other things are millennias old. The medical doctors are a newish thing from the 1700s. So, yeah.
Socrates, come on.
Yeah. All right, Brandon,
hey,
kiddo,
guys.
go ahead.
Thanks, kiddo. All right, so Bears legend Matt Forte, he's putting on for his community during this pandemic, working with the microfinance group for a project to support minority businesses on the south and west sides of the city. And he shared with me more about the program and why the city he played for has really become his home.
It's a fact that a lot of people of color, if they go to the bank and they apply for a loan, they may be eligible for one, but a lot of times they get denied capital for whatever reason. And so in understanding this, we want to provide some of those, that capital and that opportunity for someone who has a small business or who has an idea or a dream that wants it to come through, but they just don't have the financial means to make that happen or get the first, step going. So if we can provide that, that's what we're going to do.
That's a really good goal to have. And it's just kind of continuing the work that you've really been about while you've been in Chicago through your own foundation, you and your wife, and what you all have done for the city. You're not originally from Chicago, but you put on for your city, bro. What was the moment for you where you realized Chicago was a place where you can really call it your own and build community?
Yeah, and while I was playing here and my wife being from here and just understanding the city and how much they love the Bears first, and getting to work with a lot of the kids and the youth in certain neighborhoods in Inglewood and Auburn Gresham and places on the south side and west side, getting to know them is that they really care about you. And so when you show up and you care about them and you consistently show up, it speaks volumes to them. I had a kid one time, he said, I had showed up for a couple weeks in a row, and he was like, man, you came back. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, most guys, they come and they do something, they don't come back. And I was like, man, I can't be one of those guys. If I'm here and we're trying to do something to impact you guys, the youth, or a certain neighborhood, we got to be consistent.
Yes, indeed. You can find out more about the Your Forte, Your Finance program at the Forte Foundation website. John?
Yeah, he is great. The National Film Registry announced the movies that it will be adding to the National Registry. It's in the title there. A couple Chicago features are going to be a part about it. I'm excited for Blues Brothers, which is making the list, as well as The Dark Knight. Which obviously the Blues Brothers prominently highlighted the city's musical talents. And The Dark Knight showed off the L tracks or something. Shrek and Grease, The Hurt Locker, The Joy Luck Club, and A Clockwork Orange are also getting in there. I'm sorry, Blues Brothers is such an iconic film in our history,
like
and The Dark Knight.
Disrespect.
Well, like The Dark Knight was good.
It doesn't matter.
What? Why? I'm surprised that one made the National Registry. I love The Dark Knight. It's like my favorite Batman movie, but like, really?
So there you go. And you don't even care about the superhero genre that much. So if you liked it,
yeah, I guess maybe.
You love the genre.
Yeah, no, you're right. And Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker was awesome, and it's really good. But like, when I think of the National Registry of movies, I think of like Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind, and like
it's
the Blues Brothers. No, it's
up there. It's totally up there. They changed the rules for the Oscars and how many people can be nominated because The Dark Knight didn't get nominated and people felt like that was an injustice. Like it's one of the best movies ever made, let alone it's definitely the best superhero movie ever made. Of course it's going to make the registry. Come on.
Okay.
I'll take a little notice with the best movie ever made. It might be a little,
It's one of the best. It's definitely one of the best.
It's
if you
a
did a
very
top
good
100
superhero movie. For sure.
If you do a top 100,
maybe.
It's in there.
Yeah, but I get why it was added. I would say I get why it's added. Hey, I just want to know, President-elect Biden is speaking right now, talking about the Electoral College win that he received today, commenting about President Trump. And President Trump talks about how this is a fraud today because, like the last report, Biden had gotten 306 votes to Trump's 232. And he mentioned the fact that President Trump 4 years ago wanted us to accept his Electoral College win right off the top and now is not accepting Biden. So this is happening right now. Just want to get you an update.
So let's start our watches for when the president will tweet. Yeah, I don't know.
5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Dude's taking more L's than the Jets this season.
Oh, man.
Way more.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. But with office parties, holiday parties really out the window altogether, many companies are getting creative to show employees they care this holiday season. So some companies have done like these virtual cocktail parties where they'll mail kits out to their employees and they can take classes. Other ones have done virtual scavenger hunts where they have like little teams and you have to snap pictures around your house. It's kind of cool and then see who can win. They're also doing cooking classes. And what would you guys like to see as our virtual holiday party? John,
for me, I would like to see a scavenger hunt mixed with a game of trivia. If you can combine the two of those and send me some alcohol, I think that is the best possible way to have fun. But you got to send the alcohol. That is key. All right. Because we're all tired of Zoom. We're all tired of sitting in front of a computer. Get me up, get me active, and get me a drink.
Yeah, I almost just want to tell them to just watch the Jam every Wednesday night for game ideas to do for your office party because we played so many games over the. Don't get me wrong, I love each and every single one of them, but we got some good ones here that we've done on the show that would all be good office things. I think a talent show is a fun idea. Like, look, you got a little box here. You got only the materials in your house. You got to show off your skills. And you got like 30 seconds for each person. I think that'd be a good way to like break the wall a little bit.
John Hanson, we work at television. It is a different world for normal people that have
They're not talented, you're saying?
I'm saying they don't want to do things in front of other people. They are embarrassed and quiet. Like you're not quiet or embarrassed about anything. That's not normal.
Come on. I know our viewers would love to show off their skills. We've seen them many times on this program.
Some of them would. I think a whole company of people would be like, meh.
Yeah, that's true. By the fifth one, you're like, okay, how many more people are going to juggle a stupid ball? Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. They have to be unique talents. You got to vet out who is doing what talent, right? That's the key. Sure. Let's vet them.
I just want somebody to send me a babysitter.
Yeah, I feel you on that one too. Yeah. All right, guys, coming up when we come back, we're going to talk about CPS, online learning, and how truancy rules actually work. Can you still be as harsh when it comes to kids not being in virtual class? We'll talk about some of the nuances of that when the Jam returns. Here's a look at the forecast as we head out. All right, news you need to know. With families forced to do e-learning, questions have come up around how to handle truancy. According to the Huffington Post, some kids all the way from Texas to here in Chicago are experiencing tech glitches or who had their cameras turned off. They also received legal threats with those involving court and fines. I think the challenge here is you have to have some empathy and compassion for people when it comes to the situation we're all in. We're all struggling right now to deal with this pandemic, especially parents who have to be teachers as well now and realize the hard work that teachers do. I know, Amy, I know you understand. Like this is rough. Have some empathy, right?
Yeah. The court cases is ridiculous. Like I get it, school is important, but I think everyone in this year, everyone moves up a grade. I don't care. You did it. You made it. You're living. You got through it. Everyone goes through. You're fine.
So it's so funny because, so like at the end of last year, I think a lot of schools just kind of did away with grades and just made sure kids were engaged and they were there and they're present and doing the best they could. But now we're talking about a full year, like a school calendar year. There has to be checks and balances. And these schools are held up to state mandates that they have to meet. And so they're trying to figure out how to meet these state mandates when they've got kids who are not engaging and they don't even know if kids are there. And if the parents aren't helping out, like the schools are in as much limbo as the families are too. I think it's a very 50-50 split. So yeah, truancy stuff is stupid. Have a conversation with the parents. I mean, let's just work this out, people. But I get they're like, well, I got to answer for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Anyways. Yeah. Let's move on to computers. Computer problems, big problem with CPS. And many are pointing to the mayor's pick for who supplied them. So lots of the laptops provided to kids by Meeting Tomorrow and its CEO, Mark Astrop, don't meet virtual learning standards. So Astrop was a supporter and donated $30,000 to Lightfoot's campaign. She handed him the $1.6 million deal without consulting the city, school district, or even bothered to look at other bids, allegedly. So she even personally vouched for him by reaching out to Janice Jackson and saying, he's a good guy, he's going to help you out. So that's where my problem comes in, is that email saying, if he can, he will help you. Now, if she hadn't done that and went through normal channels and said, I think this is the place we should go because he could help you out, then a little bit more okay, maybe?
Yeah, adding the personal, endorsement to it and making it, doing you a favor type of thing, it doesn't give off a good look, right? It's unfair to these students. It's unfair to the parents. It's unfair to the teachers too, and it's not a good look at all to have these many computer problems, but also see that maybe due diligence wasn't taken to make sure you had the best technology available for these students.
Not a good look. I mean, potentially this could be criminal. I mean, this is a former prosecutor who is now the mayor of our city, and this is like a no-brainer. You do not push through personal favors or allude to pushing through personal favors without sending things through the proper channel. Obviously, the allegations have to be looked at. There's probably explanations on both sides. This is really potentially damaging. I'm kind of surprised this isn't making bigger waves right now because this is no good.
But I think the reason it's not, John, is because an emergency order was in effect. And I think that grays everything, right? Because she needed to get something done and she did. Now, the avenue she did it and the knee-jerk reaction is now being like, what? But that is where the umbrella might protect a little bit from the rainwaters. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, 6-year-old racked up $16,000 in charges on his mom's credit card by playing video games on the phone. It was through Apple, through a Sonic game. He was like buying these rings and rang up $16,000. Apple says tough because you didn't challenge the charges soon enough. The mom was also out of a job for 6 months. They've got to figure this out, right? Like, cut the cost. They're just rings. It's not like you've taken something digital. Like, it's not like he stole something. They're fake internet points. Just like give it back to her. $16,000 a lot.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. But in our house, we play a lot of Fortnite and we buy skins, AKA doll clothes is what I keep calling them. Like you're buying doll clothes virtually that you will never see again. But there are parental safeguards on these things, so you can prevent that from happening. He cannot make a single purchase unless it's approved by us, and he has to ask us first, and then it comes to us once so we know. And she waited too long to contest the purchases, which kind of leads you to believe she knew about some of it, but not all of it. And why didn't she jump on it? And how do you not know there's parental controls? That drives me crazy. So I kind of like, If you're lazy, you're lazy. You didn't do your due diligence a little bit.
It's one of those things that was a challenge and a question that popped up when in-app purchases became a thing, right? That you
Yeah.
were going to have this issue. And the problem I see here is that, okay, the way those in-app purchases work, don't you have to like approve it through your Apple ID? Like you have to, so either the kid has the Apple ID or the face scan wasn't on or something. If you had the face scan on, you probably would have protected from this. So Apple could make the case, well, you didn't really do all the safeguards, right?
Whenever Henry tries to buy something, an alert immediately comes to me and Todd, and you have to approve it. So
Yeah.
he can't do it without our approval. We have that set up. Now, maybe she didn't take that step. Maybe she didn't know that step existed, but there are so many parental controls. You got to parent a little. You got to look into these things.
There should be a block of like $100. Like anyone that spends $100 on a video game, shut it down. Something bad has happened.
I don't disagree with you. Then the company should reach out to the parents and be like, something's up here. This just seems out of the norm. And I agree with you totally, John. Yeah. All right, tonight on The U, country star Ty Herndon and Broadway legend Kristen Chenoweth discuss their unlikely friendship with Tamron Hall.
Well, you know, she's got this boyfriend that actually plays guitar for me sometimes. So I kind of work the back angle of it. So,
you moved in on the pillow talk, as they call it. You went the pillow talk route. Is that what happened, Kristen? He went the pillow talk route?
All right, catch more of their interview tonight at 8 p.m.
All right, the 2020 iHeartRadio Jingle Ball is tonight. Catch special holiday performances by Billie Eilish, The Weeknd, Harry Styles tonight at 7 on CW26. The 2020 iHeartRadio Jingle Ball is brought to you locally in part by Verdoliak Law Group.
Hey, 2020 has upended almost every form of entertainment out there. Chicago Shakespeare Theater is making sure that the curtain doesn't go down on one holiday tradition.
Chicago is an awesome theater city, and we proved it time and time again. It's really an amazing, amazing community. Right now, it's a really challenging time for theaters. You know, as I said, since we haven't produced a show since March 12th, and we're not alone. And you know, most of our what we do is about gathering people and bringing them together to take in art. And so it's been very challenging on all sorts of fronts, and artists of all kinds are suffering right now. So right now, you know, we've pivoted, and from limitation comes creativity, and we think we've got all sorts of fun things on the docket. It's a classic tale, right? And I mean, J.M. Barrie wrote this magical story. And we partnered with George Stiles and Anthony Drew, who are the composer and lyricist for Mary Poppins, and Elliot Davis, who wrote the book. And they had written a full-length musical of Peter Pan, a musical adventure. And in our summer program, we do 75, 80-minute versions of musicals. And so we commissioned them to do this, and we are thrilled with the results. And we had, just a great time in 2018. The production was wildly successful. And we were fortunate enough to do a multi-camera shoot in front of live audiences then. And now we're able to offer it now, free for all of our audiences. We'll be streaming it on demand. And we're excited to share it with Chicagoans and around the world. Not only, still considering live events and what those might even look like or where those might take place, but how we can, pivot to other platforms, certainly streaming and audio, what audio can provide, and really just taking this opportunity to be as creative as possible to remain engaged with our audience. We start streaming Saturday, December 19th, and we stream through New Year's Day. And you can access it all on chicagoshakes.com/Peter Pan. And with that, not only do we have the streaming that will happen on demand, but we've also got amazing supplemental materials that go along that you can do with your younger ones. And also there's a behind the scenes making of Peter Pan, which is really interactive and really fun. And during this time of need, we're also working with several children's hospitals to release this in children's hospitals and senior care facilities as well, which is really, really important to us.
And you can get streaming details at chicagoshakes.com. Deep Dish coming up. We are back in 90 seconds. Hey, time for
All
Deep
right,
Dish.
welcome back. Yeah, time for Deep Dish. I was looking for a photo to help tell this story a little bit better, but there is our Deep Dish topic today. What is your I don't get paid enough for this ish moment, or a swear word? What don't you get paid enough? This job or another job? Amy.
Polar vortex, 20 whatever year it was, standing outside in the cold for an hour to interview parents about how they felt about having to pick their kids up from school early because the buses were not running.
Too cold, yeah.
Yeah,
okay. No. Yeah,
That's
okay.
a good one.
Brandon.
I used to work at a library in the computer lab, and I had to be responsible for stopping kids or adults from using bad websites, the porn websites and stuff like that. So I had to be the guy to tap them on the shoulder.
Blocker.
Yeah, in the middle of their video, like, hey, you can't do that here. You have to move along.
I don't care how much you got paid. You did not get paid enough for that.
No.
I won't have time for mine. That's okay. We will see.